Good morning, everybody. My name is Lee Brower, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Last week I invited you to ask a simple question in your family. Do you remember it? The question was, can you think of a moment when you felt especially proud to be and put the name of your family? So for me, can I think of a moment when I was especially proud to be a Brower? Whatever it is for you. If you did that, you probably noticed something. I'm going to guess the room changed, stories came out, smiles, and maybe even a few tears. Because those moments don't just live in our memory, they live in our identity. And we live in a VUCA world. We've talked about this: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And in a world like that, people need anchors. And think about your kids. There's so many kids right now that don't know who they are. And so they attach themselves to whatever is loud, popular, or available. But when families know who they are, belonging becomes a place of strength instead of a place of confusion. And we talked last time. I believe there's two types of belonging. For shallow belonging, where it's easy to join, easy to leave, and it asks very little of you. Deep belonging takes more, but it gives more. So you see, it asks us to show up. It asks us to be honest. It asks us to be known. Let me give you a simple example. You've probably all had examples like this, but a dad once told me about his teenage son. He was so proud of him. He said the son made a mistake, not a huge one, but one that could have turned into a big deal. And instead of covering it up, instead of blaming someone else, he came straight to his parents and he told the truth. Now, that moment wasn't really about the mistake, was it? It was about honesty. It was about trust. It was about knowing you're safe telling the truth in this family. And in that family, one of their guiding principles is this: no matter what, name of the last name of the family, we take responsibility, no matter what. And at that moment was simply that principle in action. And as families begin to name the principles they live by, then they can start collecting evidence for them through the stories they capture. That's a proud moment. And underneath every proud moment is a principle like that. And that's the part most people miss. You see, every time you felt proud to be a part of your family, there was probably a principle underneath it. Maybe someone stood up for someone else. That's courage. Someone told the truth when it was hard. That's integrity. Someone showed up when it wasn't convenient. That's love. Maybe somebody learned from an experience that was tough. That's learning. Those principles are what make belonging deep instead of shallow. Those moments become anchors, especially for kids growing up in a noisy, confusing world. And every family is a microtribe, whether you know it or not. And the strongest ones take time to notice the moments that mattered and the principles they represent. So this week, I'd invite you to go one layer deeper, okay? I want you to ask again, or I invite you to ask again, think of a moment when you felt especially proud to be a part, or to be a blank, or a part of this family, to be a blank. Identify that. Then ask, what was the principle underneath that moment? Because when families start naming the principles they live by, start naming the principles they live by, belonging gets deeper, kids get steadier, and the ripples go farther. So here's the question I'll leave you with today. What moment in my family or in our family made me feel proud? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And then what principle does it reveal about who we are? What moment in our family made me feel proud, and what principle does it reveal about who we are? Make life meaningful. I look forward to seeing you here next week. If you get a nudge to share this, do it. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.